Hey, this is We Called It. Bouncing back after not being there for week one. Kind of a big letdown when you talk about football and you weren't there for the first week of the season. uh, we were all busy. My brother Steve's wedding really held us back traveling to and from the Dominican Republic. But we're here now. Anyways, last week sucked. It was one of the worst fantasy football and scoring weeks for a long time. So
Speaking of sucking, I'm over here losing to Phil because my defense lost 3 points on a junk time touchdown Monday night, and Phil beat me by 0.02, I think, or
there
point
was
0.2.
we had the two lowest scores in our family league. It was by far the worst.
You can leave that part
Showing
out.
you shouldn't listen to us. Let's be honest about fantasy football. It's been bad. Good news is I hit a giant bet this weekend and brought home the big bucks. So I really don't care about anything else for the rest of the season. That's how much it was. Anyways, just had to
Did you
brag
hear
real
that?
quick.
$1 million.
If it was $1 million, I would not be here. I'd be doing anything else with my time. All right, so we're just gonna get into week 2. You'll get all our opinions on the teams because, well, all we'll be talking about when we talk about our game picks is what the heck happened in week 1. Before we get started, Nate, our most popular / potentially only listener, reached out and he had a fun fact. Daniel Jones has thrown 5 touchdowns since signing his $100 million contract. Ken, can you guess who has the most receiving touchdowns from him?
Oh, I was going to guess the defense.
Yes,
But
as a matter of fact, there are 5 players currently tied with 1 touchdown each. 2 of them were Giants. It was Saquon and Isaiah Hodgins. The other 3 were all defensive players. He has more touchdowns thrown to opposing players than he does his own team since signing for a $100 million contract. So Andrew Van
and
Ginkel,
also,
Deron Bland, and Devin Witherspoon are the other
so
3.
you're saying there's 0 current he's thrown 0 touchdowns to New York Giants so far?
Let me just make sure. I don't believe Isaiah Hodgins is on that team still.
Even if it is, doesn't matter.
Oh, he's still on the Giants.
Oh,
I don't think
okay.
he doesn't play anymore though. So yes, anyways. Yeah, it's
Oh, that is nuts.
yeah, if you thought your team had a bad contract deal, just know that there's people that are miserable too. We're not going to talk about the Browns situation for now until claims are legitimized, but it sucks to be a Browns fan right now. Let's just say that.
Oh man, it has been rough, man. Listening to Cleveland sports radio is awful right now.
You know who's not awful? The whole AFC East except for the Jets. I forgot that they lost last night. Anyways, Buffalo versus Miami, Thursday night football. Miami is a home favorite, -1.5, and the total is 48.5. We both have picks on this game. So, Ken, why do you like Miami?
So, because I talked up Miami all off season, and I'm not letting one game against Jacksonville turn around yet. Now, first off, being a guy who has Tyreek Hill and A-Chain on a fantasy team, super happy with how that part played out. But really, no, I mean, Miami, the whole, you hear it all off season. Oh, they're going to scheme up these runs. They're going to get. They were, Mostert and A-Chain could not do anything running the ball. And really, they look awful, but I think they really turn it around. There's too much talent on the team, too much speed, and I still think that Buffalo's defense is definitely looked better than it actually was against the Arizona offense. But I mean, I think that it's going to get exploited. Being at home, it's an evening game, so it's a little bit cooler. I think that this is the one from Buffalo. I mean, they came out so awful. They were down 17-3. Josh Allen had 3 passes. It's like, hey, they want to run the ball, and they're going to have to abandon that. And I really think they're going to start, missing having real pass catchers sooner than later when they play real defenses.
Yeah, Miami's defense was surprisingly good after they let Jacksonville walk all over them for the first half of that game, and then immediately clamped down so they could get the comeback. Which is why I'm taking the under at 48.5. I think one of the Miami offense can be very misleading where they do thrive on big plays because they're so fast. But it just seems like Buffalo and Miami aren't interested in attacking vertically regularly. Miami wants to take shots to Tyreek Hill every now and then and Jalen Waddle every now and then. But if it's a close game, they seem comfortable just being like, all right, we'll just do our check downs, try to get 10-yard chunk plays. And, they ended with 2-3 field goals against the Jags, despite moving the ball pretty well. Tua leads the league in passing right now, for those of you who didn't know. So I just think under 48.5. 48.5 is a high total. I think it's looking like the third highest of the week. I just don't see, you typically get worse play on a short week, especially early in the year. So both teams are undefeated. So rather than bet against either of them, you absolutely go in the under here.
Yeah, prime time under, not a bad pick ever.
All right, so let's go on then to the team that screwed Ken over, San Francisco versus Minnesota. One of my favorite teams right now. As when you get a free win that you don't deserve in fantasy football, you always got to cheer for that team. But anyways, Minnesota home underdog after blowing out the Giants. It's a 6-point line with the total at 45.5. Ken again coming in hot, taking the 49ers.
If you watch that game, first off, I really think the Jets played better than what the score looked like, but it was just San Fran. Who knows when they actually knew McCaffrey was out. It certainly didn't look like that was a surprise. Jordan Mason looked fantastic, but there's just too many weapons on this offense. Guarding Ayuk, Debo, Kittle, and who cares who's it's way better to have McCaffrey, but they're still running lanes open. They really just took it to the Jets. I have a real defense. Minnesota, yes, you've looked great against the Giants. Welcome to the NFL this week, and I think San Fran puts them in place. I just don't think that Minnesota has the defense to keep up with them. It's gonna, and San Fran, their defense still plays good. I like them so much that they lost it for me due to junk time. They were too good, and they didn't care about that touchdown at the end. But no, I think San Fran can beat up on these teams. So yes, they're traveling from the West Coast. I don't really care. I think this is a 10-point game.
Yeah, so I like Minnesota's defense a lot more than I thought I would, and I like Minnesota's playmakers and offensive line a lot more than I thought I would too. The problem is Sam Darnold is the quarterback, and I've been hyping him up in our group chat because he will be the next Browns quarterback. I'm willing to bet that next year after J.J. McCarthy comes back, Darnold will be in a Browns uniform because it's a similar system. But he looked great. I think he was 12 for 12 on his first 12 passes or something. But the problem is San Fran's really good, and they practiced against him all last year. So I'm not betting on San Fran. I probably should. Maybe I will later on the week, but for now, 6 points. Traveling across the country after a Monday night game is just too much for me.
I don't know. I think that the San Fran D-line's just gonna give him too much of a problem, and they're just gonna wait for him to make a mistake. And he's Sam Darnold, and he will, because he's not playing the Giants.
All right, so now we're gonna, since Connor's not here and wasting all of our time with his random stories that are useless, we are just gonna keep going through every game we have listed until he shows up, if he does. Gosh darn it!
Oh man,
what
that
poor
is
timing.
Perfect timing, man.
Dude, look at his
face. Hey,
just,
man.
He definitely didn't hear me talk and speak, Matt. Did you give him CPR? Does Ken need to walk you through it?
Stupid. It's dumb.
It's just stupid.
Timer sprinkler thing that apparently I was supposed to turn on. I didn't turn it on.
Why do you have to turn on a timer-based sprinkler?
I don't know.
The whole point is it's on.
I disconnected it today to water my lawn, and so I didn't reconnect it.
Oh. Dude, whatever. I wouldn't. We're recording this. We should just get rid of this recording. Good. Let's cut this.
Just
gotta cut it for, yeah.
Everyone knows Sasha watches this probably 2 or 3 times a week.
I don't know. I just was like, this is stupid. You're going to be home at 10 o'clock tomorrow. Just fix it then. And she's like, no, you have to do it right now. So I was like, whatever. Yeah,
you need to find the closest store that has dahlias. I don't even know what they are.
Apparently are like really hard to grow, and they are very fragile, and blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Does your wife study like that kind of stuff, like life.
No, that
and
she
plant
does it
stuff?
though
No?
for fun. And she has that side business that she does with
No,
that
that's
does
true.
flowers all the
Freezing
time.
things
So
Reds.
yeah, I think I've told
Well,
you about
Connor,
this. I
you
think I've
just
told you about
ruined
that, haven't I?
you just ruined our whole show because I was so excited for me and Ken to talk about every game. But since you're here and you talk way too much, we can't do that. We don't have enough time.
Just pick a couple. Just give me like. I promise. I honestly.
I'm good.
Like,
I'm good.
All right.
Give me
Indy
like
minus 3.5 against Green Bay.
Give me 5 to talk about. Oh wait, you're doing lines now. Oh yeah, I guess.
Yeah, we have them up.
Started.
So we'll have you looking at that. We're gonna get going then.
Just
On to
get
our
in
next
there.
one.
You know me. I take about 2 seconds and I'm about 60% hit rate. Let's go. I don't think
60% plus or minus 20%.
Sure.
Whatever. I'm great at this.
If we round up, if we round up, I'm either 100 or 0. All right.
That's all you know. You know you're talking about. Look at my
All right.
record. It's good.
Right now it's 0 for 0 because we didn't make any picks last week. Anyways, Cleveland versus Jacksonville. Next game. Ken and I agree on this. Cleveland +3 as road underdogs in Jacksonville. I just gotta say, like this one's pretty clear for me. Jacksonville was like, hey, we're a good football team for about half of football, and then they crapped the bed hard. And Cleveland can't be as bad as we saw. I do think Dallas's defense humiliated them without their starting tackles, and when you have Micah Parsons and who is it, DeMarcus Lawrence, it's kind of a big disadvantage. So I really think Cleveland actually can bounce back and looked way worse in a spotlight game. And then Jacksonville, like I said, if Doug Peterson is playing scared like he was, I think I saw on Twitter he called 3 pass plays after like halfway through the third quarter. You're just trying to not win, so you can't do that. You're not going to cover 3 points if you do that.
So we still have a very good defense. And yes, the Dallas defense does a great job of making bad offenses look worse. And that's absolutely what happened. They exploited our line. They exploited Deshaun. And we just can't, we're not going to play that bad again. And the thing is, our defense can make Trevor Lawrence make mistakes. And I think it's going to be an ugly game. I think that if we looked halfway decent against Dallas, this is closer to an even game. I think neutral field. I think Cleveland's got them by a little bit typically. So just with everything negative around there, I think the Cleveland price is just dropped a bit, and it'll get corrected this week. So Jacksonville, it stinks, that they played a good half against Miami, got a loss there. One of these teams are going to start off 0-2, and I think it's Jacksonville.
Connor, any thoughts on Jacksonville, Cleveland?
Doug Peterson, 4th and whatever, 2 on his own 30, runs a 1999 wishbone play and expects to get it. And Travis Etienne runs around in circles, and then they get the ball, and the go-ahead field goal is right there. Literally, the stupidest play I think I've seen in probably, I don't know, at least 2 years. I can't remember one that dumb. Honestly, name one.
Dude, the Mac
Brandon
Jones,
Staley was a coach.
Yeah.
Raiders Patriots, the throwback when it's tied.
Oh my God,
that was dumb.
Okay, but that was not a called play. This was a called play.
Okay.
This was
All right.
literally Doug Peterson saying, let's run a wishbone sweep on 4th and 2 on my own like 30, like a moron. I didn't even know the passing stats that he didn't pass after like the third and a half quarter, like an idiot.
They spent so much money on that passing game, right? Christian Kirk's like
I couldn't believe
that. 10 pay.
Side note,
he got a nice good catch.
I'm sure you guys have
Thank you, Phil, for talking so much in fantasy. Pissed me off.
I'm sure you guys talked about this. So so side note, fantasy. Let's not overreact on fantasy, okay? 50% of the NFL threw for 180 yards or less this week. That is not sustainable and not going to happen again. Even Bill Belichick, the mastermind of defense, even said that's not going to happen again. So I won this week, if you guys are wondering, but barely. And that includes CeeDee Lamb having 15 points, Marvin Harrison having 4, and Drake London having like 6.
Dude, Drake London really let me down,
Christian Kirk having like 4, okay? So,
Dude, Christian Kirk had this like wide open catch on the sideline. It just hits him in the face, and the ball hits the ground. I'm like, yeah, that kind of that summarizes
I did not watch
today.
very much of the games this week, ironically, which is interesting. But even
anyways.
Evan Ingram, our like secret like weapon, got like one touch too. It was crazy. It was absolutely insane. Like I've never seen an opening weekend like that.
I will say, right. Connor, you missed Ken's opening rant where he got his butt kicked in fantasy. Where we had the 2 lowest scores for our family league. I beat him on the Jets touchdown with 25 seconds left in garbage time. Because
my
his
defense lost 3 points, and he beat me by 0.2.
So I was smoking the guy until
Jordan Mason?
Jerome Ford, second half garbage time. I ended up going down by 6 points on his touchdown and had to have Sam Laporta come back and win it in the fourth quarter because, by the way, he didn't have a good game either. None of the Lions team did, but I barely won because of Sam Laporta. Jerome Ford, of all people, 29 seconds left getting some garbage time.
Yep.
Pissed me off.
Yeah, that was 25 seconds left in the Jets game when the Jets scored. Down 2 touchdowns or 16 points.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right, next game. Ken and I believe in Aaron Rodgers to bounce back and beat down on the Titans. They are 4-point road. The Jets are 4-point road favorites. The total's 41.5. So Ken, why do you got that?
Aaron Rodgers did not look too bad. Yes, they were outmatched by the 49ers defense. They came ready to play. I just think just a good team in general. But this Jets defense does look legit. Eventually, Jordan Mason they had the running lanes. Tennessee's not going to be able to do that. They don't have the weapons. The Jets are going to make Will Levis beat them, and that is just not a good place to be. I think that Aaron Rodgers, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson look legit out there. So, between the decent defense, Aaron Rodgers, the only thing is they might just play super slow because that's what Aaron Rodgers does, but I think that one's pretty easy.
Yeah, I watched that Tennessee game, and I worked technically for a Chicago office, so I heard a lot of people there not happy with the fact that they had their first comeback victory at home since 2001. Like, they said the game was just so miserable to watch. Everyone's hyped for Caleb Williams, and it was complete trash. He was awful.
Both defenses scored like 30 points in fantasy. It was awesome. It was awesome.
My friends at the game sending me texts like, dude, this is the most depressing I've ever seen, and we came back from 17-0 to win the game. How is this miserable, But anyways,
Side note, Will Levis, which we said was fraud, is probably a fraud, if you're wondering.
His only touchdown was an interception that his player then intercepted back. It was like
probably a fraud.
It was like a perfect pass to the Bears.
But he's funny, but people like him because he likes mayonnaise in his coffee, so we must give him a pass.
Anyways.
Side note, I hope he gets crushed because why? Because Mel Kiper's big board was the number 2 that year. CJ Stroud was like the number 5, and then I'm like, Kiper, you are a complete moron, dude. you hit on a couple back in the early 2000s and haven't been right since.
Dude, hey, you know what? If I could be right twice and make a lot of money for the rest of my life, I'm in.
So
I just gotta go play like the Powerball ones. But dude, the Titans are using Tony Pollard like he's Derrick Henry, and their defense was solid, but it could just be playing against a rookie quarterback. I don't think there's anything impressive about them at all. I think them and the Giants are currently the 2 biggest frauds. And speaking of that, we're going to head over to Washington -2 because Connor put this in and I'm going to copy it. Connor, why do you like Washington -2, besides the fact the Giants suck?
You can't just take it literally because you can't say the one thing that pretty much everyone is thinking and I'm going to say.
You could elaborate on it. Like I was trying to say, you can't just say, hey, one line answer. Can
Daniel
you give me 3
Jones.
sentences?
Done.
So Connor,
we just talked about Will Levis. It's the same thing.
Connor, since signing his $100 million contract,
he has more touchdowns to the other team than he does to his own wide receiver. I know all the stats,
who has he thrown the most touchdowns to?
Ooh.
What player?
Wait, on the Giants?
Well, it's a 5-way tie for first because he's only had 5 touchdowns.
Darius Slayton.
No, it's Saquon Barkley, Isaiah Hodgins, and then the defenders that he threw touchdowns to.
Yeah. It's not. He's only thrown 2. He's only thrown two touchdowns
to his team.
So the fact that they are so tied
$100 million
to him
contract.
that Dable won't consider Drew Lock, who has Drew Lock's not great, but Drew Lock has won, and outside of Daniel Jones' miracle streak, Drew Lock did fine last year. He won his only game. Wasn't that against the Niners last year, like in Seattle?
No, I don't think
spot
that
start was like against a good team, I thought.
I'll tell you in 1 second.
It was actually, and he played well. He played clean. Like, I'm serious. Like, I don't understand why Daboll is so tied to this because, oh yeah, we played him $1 million. Listen, you have like 36 hours in terms of games. So you got 3 games to basically get yourself off the hot seat. You might as well figure it out right now. Who cares? Do you want a job? Well, maybe you don't want to continue to coach for the Giants. That could be something totally different. But if you want to win, you can't be so tied to this. This HBO Hard Knocks where they just do shots of them or talking about how we got to go with him. We got to go with Daniel Jones because we paid him $80 million. We're not going to hand off to a $12 million running back. Well, it's not working. So
that's the I messed up gift from the hangover, guys. I really fudged this one up.
It is,
and the worst part is Saquon looks so good on a real offense. Yeah. Oh my god, he looks so good.
Listen, dude. All right, so but seriously, like I don't think Washington defense is very good, but
doesn't matter.
Jaden Daniels is going to run around in circles on these guys. I mean, Kayvon Thibodeau after the game looked. I mean, he got asked basically why his whole defensive line sucked. And he skipped the question. He pulled a Deion Sanders. I'm like, this whole team is in shambles. There's nothing to like.
So one, they got rid of Wink Martindale, who obviously game changer in terms of defensive coordinator, where he just plays high risk defense. Like I'm gonna blitz the crap out of you, and I hope you throw it to my team instead. But they spent all their money up front on defense, so it's amazing that they sucked that much.
It's crazy to me. It is crazy to me.
I will say Malik Neighbors looked. I think he actually looks like a solid player.
Wandale Robinson had 13 targets, dude. Come on,
dude. I'm just saying, Malik Neighbors. All the rookies sucked in week 1, and he actually played pretty well.
The super slots had Greg Dortch had 20 plus targets this past week. Isn't
Greg
that
Dortch
crazy?
Is a player, man.
I like him. Both.
I like him.
I got him both
that's
on
me
bench.
out there. If I was a pro, that would be me.
That's right.
Dude just sees eye to eye with Kyler, man.
Dude.
All right. I see hello, Kyler. Thank you. I don't see you sitting here talking to me about Bryce Young, who's the same height, mister.
Oh, don't worry. We're going to Bryce Young with the next game I was going to go to because I noticed your pick on that one, and I can't wait to hear about it. Anyways, Washington.
It's
dude,
easy.
Washington was so bad. Jaden Daniels, he didn't throw to receivers. He legitimately looked like a kid who's playing Madden and had Michael Vick. He's like, yeah, I'm just going to drop back and immediately run and take off. I can't do anything else at the moment. So I'm hoping it goes better against the Giants.
Back to the original point. Who are they playing?
Yeah.
It
might be 3-0. Actually, it won't because Cade York can't hit a freaking field goal. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, that was
X
funny.
Brownie missed 2 of them and put the Commanders down in bad position. So let's focus on this real quick. After Bryce Young was just one of, arguably the worst quarterback in a week when everyone was arguably the worst quarterback. Connor has taken the Panthers to hit the over against
I'm not taking the
Chargers.
Panthers. This is totally
it's the Panthers and the Chargers. You're taking the Panthers.
This is going to be the
over.
Chargers scoring on every drive. It's going to be 35-7, dude.
I'm over here thinking it's like a whole game thing, and you're like, no.
No,
not even that.
I do like Dave Canales. I think he gets a little bit of a pass here. I'm a little bit shocked at how completely overwhelmed he was against New Orleans. Derek Carr puts 47 on you, that's a bad thing. Bryce Young looks
the crazy thing is Derek Carr only threw for 200 yards. His team put up almost 50 points, and he threw for 200, and 60 of them were on the first pass.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that was weird. Again, Chris Olave, 2 catches, 11 yards, like just the entire roster. They do the best, like the worst roster of the week, and it was like all guys that got drafted in the top 5. It was like Chris Olave, Marvin Harrison Jr.,
Drake London.
Who else was really bad? There was somebody even higher. It was like, oh my goodness, I can't remember who it was. There was somebody else that was like a top 5 pick. Christian McCaffrey, obviously being inactive. Like, just terrible. Just absolutely terrible.
Amon-Ra St. Brown sucked. That's who it was.
That's who it was. It was ARSB. It was like, oh my goodness. You could think like you go into that first round of games and you're like, I'm going to kill everybody. I've got a great team. Drake London was on there. Yeah, it was real bad. Yeah, anyways. No, I honestly think, now I do think there's a lot of overcorrections. So much so, like in the first to second week, like you'll see Bryce Young will probably be a lot better. Canales will be much more prepared. I mean, he literally just said, I schemed incorrectly. Came out afterwards and said, they had counter punches to everything that I had, and I didn't have a third punch. Like, as a head coach, you can't say that. Well, I mean, you can. I appreciate his transparency, but he also came out and kind of defended Bryce and was like, yeah, I put Bryce in a terrible position. And I'm like, that doesn't bode well for his confidence, but
I was about to say, yeah, great week 2 rebound.
Yeah.
Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack are coming now.
100%. That's the only thing that I can think of is like, I just think this has the potential to be another beatdown. Surprisingly, I think this is a late cover. This is a late cover if there's garbage time at the end, and I think that they may score like 28. Chargers may score 28, end up with 31, and then something like a 31-10.
All right, so let's hear about you and Ken wanting to fight. We have Rams versus Arizona. Connor has Arizona plus 1.5. Ken has Rams minus 1.5. And I think I have to look up the preseason picks, but I remember I'm pretty sure we were all pretty high on Arizona and low on the Rams.
Yeah, I'm sticking with it.
And now Ken is flip flopping immediately.
Ken, flip flop.
Right after I'm like, I'm sticking with Miami. Why? Because I'm not flip flopping.
Immediately off Arizona.
Well, if they're not going to use Marvin Harrison Jr., what are we doing? We're wasting our time.
They're going to run James Conner in the line for 15 carries for 30
why
yards.
I'm going with them. I think they're going to overcorrect. I think you'll see Marv have like 6 targets and 4 touches in the first half. Easy, maybe even the first quarter. I'm serious. Now, to be fair, I saw people breaking him down on Twitter, and this was like not a Marvin Harrison problem. Like, this was another weird scheme thing. Marvin Harrison was not the first read, was only first read on like less than 15% of his routes run. Like, it was insane. It might have even been like 11. I don't know if that's like Gannon's trying to work him in, ease him in. I have no idea. But it is insane that you would draft a guy who is like the best can't miss prospect in the last decade, and you guys are like, yeah, let's just ease him in. What? I could not believe it, but I think that they overcorrect here and get it right. Rams defense, like, they were decent, but I actually think that the Lions offense was piss poor more than the Rams defense was like that good. So I think that Arizona gets on track this week. I'm a big Kyler guy, as a bounce back guy. And I obviously like Marv, and Dortch. Don't forget Dortch.
So I just think this is purely like Stafford and McVay are not going to start off 0-2. I think that Stafford, like, you just can't put him against this Arizona defense and expect him to lose another close game. I think they played really well against Detroit. Like you said, I mean, it might have been Detroit being bad, but really, I mean, I was impressed with the Rams even after Puka, went out. I'm sure they didn't think that was going to happen early in the first, but Cooper Kupp looked good, Stafford looked good, and I just think that they're going to just take advantage of the weak perimeter that Arizona's going to put out there. So yes, and the Rams defense certainly did look a little better than I was expecting with them having no one and trading away their only player. But no, I just don't think that I'm not Stafford versus Kyler, and I'm sticking with Stafford on this one. Has nothing to do with he's my only fantasy quarterback left. But
so I just like the Rams Lions unders was one of my favorite bets of last week because I knew neither of the coaches really tries to run up the score. They just have really good teams, and when the game turns into a shootout, they can. I did not see much of this game. I think I fell asleep when I was watching it.
I watched the whole thing because Sam Laporta had to win it for me in the fourth quarter.
Was it really good defense, or was it just hey, we're just Goff threw the ball 28 times?
To Ken's
Goff
point,
didn't throw it to Laporta or ASB, which was weird.
It was such a weird game. They were Rams defense was solid, nothing special. They didn't make any crazy plays on the ball. They had
Cooper Kupp had 21 targets. I'm so happy we're back here.
Goff had one pick late, which was a bad decision, but that was not I wasn't like the Rams guy. It was it wasn't schematic where he was completely just outmatched. They had a robber and he didn't see the robber. Okay. But this was exactly philosophically what you just said is exactly what happened. What I saw was Dan Campbell, even when he was if it's close, one way or the other, within a touchdown, Dan Campbell's running the football. He's got to be down at least 2 scores, I think, before he starts actually deciding that he wants to do anything past the ball. And they were winning the entire game, 17-3, and then Stafford and them tied it up late. So, I mean, I know he's going to come out here and say oh, no, we're a grinded out football team. ARSB doesn't care about getting targets, and Laporta doesn't care about getting targets. Jameson Williams had some bombs. Okay, fine. But again, Goff, I think, had 200 yards before overtime, and that was it. It was just such a weird game.
So Stafford, though, I mean, 317 yards, a touchdown, and an interception that was in the end zone. I mean, it was a bad throw by him. Yeah, but at the same time, I mean that could have easily been the Rams moved the ball up and down the field. Yeah. I mean, at will on them, and Detroit's line. Their defense isn't really much to write home about. It's certainly not as good as their offense, but just with how good it looked, despite Puka going out early, I was impressed, and that's why I'm sticking with them. And also, they're just keeping Kyron. Cool, keep giving him the ball. The offense looks good with him in there.
No, Blake Corum needs to get some touches.
That was another
real big problem for my fantasy team if he does
that. That was weird because Corum
zero
got
runs,
zero snaps. It was insane. And then of course he comes out, oh, we want to get more distribution, and it shouldn't have happened that way, and it was a close game, and we want to make sure that the guy was in there that knows all the protections, and blah, blah, blah. What's his face?
Ronnie Rivers.
Ronnie Rivers got 8 touches or 8 snaps or something. It was weird.
8 snaps. Let's
carries.
Not over target. Yeah, 2 carries.
Yeah, sorry, 8 snaps.
So, big question, fantasy-wise. Who's the guy to get if you want to replace Puka Nacua? Tyler Johnson? DeMarcus Robinson?
I think that I don't think it's Tyler. I think it just happened to be him being in the
he had 7 targets and 5 catches for 79 yards, but a long to 63.
Now is Sean McVay's going to have a week to scheme for DeMarcus Robinson. DeMarcus Robinson was a top 20 play last year from weeks 13 on. So Stafford, as you know, is I don't know. There's some guys in the NFL, Rodgers and Wilson, for example, Rodgers and Adams, Stafford and Kupp, fine. But if you don't have his trust, he is not throwing you the football. He started throwing to Tyler, but that was kind of his Puka blanket.
Yeah.
He has DeMarcus. He has had good. DeMarcus Robinson had 7 targets. So
Yep.
I think DeMarcus Robinson gets more schemed. I think he gets schemed into it today.
Mm-hmm. And if you're really looking for a tight end, there's a lot of injuries out there.
Yeah.
Colby Parkinson, he looked all right.
And he makes a crap ton of money.
He got paid a lot of money.
All right, Connor, you like Indy. Go into Green Bay, where there is no more love, because Jordan Love's out. That's a bad pun. I'll come up with something better later. Anthony Richardson did look awesome in the first week. I think he had the best throw of the week.
It's so funny how we have just the guy is so polarizing because he had less than 50% passing.
Mm-hmm.
He threw the ball 48%, 9 of 19. Like that's not
good.
good.
He missed 2 deep balls to wide open and
he missed 2
Mitchell.
ones that are wide open.
But the one that he hit, where he's drifting to the left in the pocket with a guy in his lap and chucks it 55 on a dime. If he could do that twice a game.
Off his back foot. Falling down.
It was
an
incredible throw. Anyways.
So
you got them at -3.5.
I just think that I think he's gonna do enough late. Like I think Malik Willis is not good. I mean, you can say whatever you want, but Malik Willis has only been in this offense for 2 weeks. He got cut by the Titans, and then they signed him, so it's now his second week, I think. Second or third week with Green Bay. I don't think it operates. This is more an indictment on Green Bay, Malik Willis. And so
Malik Willis couldn't beat out Will Levis for a job.
Exactly. So this is almost exclusively an indictment on them. I don't think that if you look at it, Philly put up 30 on him.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that
and really in 3 quarters because they sucked for the first beginning.
First quarter, I texted you guys. I was like, that is pathetic, and I hated watching that game because
I think this is a classic Steichen. I think this is Steichen was with the Eagles. He knows exactly what they do and run well. I think he's the originator of it. Now, that was Kellen Moore, so it's little apples and oranges, but he knows the personnel that's there. I think he'll scheme better this week, and I think that I think this is a big JT AR kind of pin and pull kind of game.
Yeah, if it is, without Jordan Love throws a great deep ball. I don't think Malik Willis can do the same, and without that, it's going to limit the Packers' offense. Didn't talk me into it, but you were pretty convincing still. B- work. All right, let's head over then. Ken, do you have any more? Oh, it's Seattle versus New England. Ken is full on that Seattle is overrated after the biggest upset of the week where they... New England's overrated after the biggest upset of the week where they took down the Bengals. So you got the under and Seattle -3.5.
I do have both of those, yes. So
correct.
You can read.
Pretty easy. Jacoby Brissett, that passing offense looked horrible. I mean, that was not a New England win. That was a Cincinnati loss. And it's fine. Cincinnati takes an extra 2 games every year to get going. Who cares? But no, New England is not starting off 2-0. There's just no chance that's going to happen. And yes, I think Seattle's offense just didn't have to do too much last time. And I think that the pass game really left a lot to be desired. I think Geno Smith's going to show up a little bit more than that. It's going to be an ugly, low-scoring game. Ramondre Stevenson looked great. I told you he would. And I think we got the good game out of him. And I don't believe...
He is a good sell-high candidate right now, I think.
I think he's a really good football player on a really bad offense. Like
terrible offense.
I came away watching that was just a cringy game with a lot of ugliness and then even worse luck for one team. So Seattle kind of gets a cakewalk the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, always a reminder that the Bengals fumbled going into the end zone and then fumbled the ensuing punt that they held the Patriots to. So just a pathetic play from Cincinnati. Zach Taylor's like, hey guys, don't show up till I guess October really is kind of how it goes. All right, Connor, let's swing back to you, and you are taking the best team in the NFL based on point differential, I think. New Orleans +6.5 against Dallas.
Because I believe in Derek Carr. Okay.
This is
That's
the
pretty
first
new.
time.
Yeah.
3 years
What?
in, 4 years in. I don't know how long we've been here.
No, I honestly, I think, I don't know. I don't think that I think the Browns played so bad. I just don't think that we get a real feel for Dallas right now. I don't know. I know they're front runners. They usually, I believe Dallas usually starts off pretty well. I thought New Orleans played well. I just thought that 6.5 was a massive line, even for what New Orleans just did. This might be a little reckless. I honestly, there's a chance I pull this off afterwards, but I just felt like 6.5. I saw that and I was like, whoa, they just blew out, Carolina. I get it, it's Carolina, but I don't know. I just feel like this is a classic, like, Carr got pissed because Rattler was getting a whole bunch of buzz in camp, came out, threw 3 touchdowns, talked a bunch of trash. Now, to be fair, Kubiak in limited, play calling in a competitive game, it was pretty decent. Kamara, he got Kamara involved. I don't know. I just feel this is like a not. My heart wasn't in this pick, but it was like, well, 6.5 feels like a lot. It's not a very good answer. I don't know.
But phenomenal take though. That's what we like to hear. The real,
that's
realism.
not my best one. It's not my best one, but
No.
All right, so go ahead.
I don't hate it. I just don't got a good feel for either of those teams. Like,
no, because
neither of them played week 1. They really didn't.
Because Dallas got a punt return for a touchdown. You played Deshaun touchy person, and he's clearly
allegedly.
Dude,
Deshaun, did you guys see his burner? They found his burner.
Yeah. Oh god, that was funny.
Like, what an idiot. I mean, honestly, this guy is like embarrassing. Like, he is really embarrassing. He is the epitome of Cleveland sports right now, and it's really bad.
That is so true.
I don't know. I just didn't feel like we got a good look at Dallas, and what I did see wasn't that impressive. Like, Zeke did not look great. Dowdle didn't look great. Dak threw for like less than 200 yards. Like, that to me just didn't look very good.
Dude, Zeke looks skinnier though. Not faster, but skinnier.
Then why get skinnier if you're not faster?
All right. So I'm going to go. I think this is Sunday Night Football, if these are in the right order. I don't know. Ken put them in. But
yes,
Chicago versus Houston. Houston minus 6.5 at home. Like, Chicago was so bad. And I know I stand by the take that maybe by the end of the year, Caleb Williams might be considered one of the best QBs in the NFC.
Dude, okay, but...
One, there is not a lot of competition. All right?
All right, but I'm just saying, 6.5 is a lot.
Dude, I think there was some bumpiness with Houston's offense, and it still came together and clicked and popped by the end.
Joe Mixon had 31 touches.
They were running him to the ground. They're not going to do that. I also think... All right, so D'Amico Ryans...
or 5, maybe.
D'Amico Ryans is going to come out and just be another smart guy playing against a rookie quarterback, know exactly how to manipulate it, because he had a rookie quarterback last year. He knows what to throw at them. And then I really think that...
historic rookie quarterback what?
Because he coached him. That's why. Really,
this is he whisperer.
Coached him.
Dude, hey, listen. All right, I stand by this for some reason. It's really like, this is, after talking to people in Chicago about how miserable being at that game was, I really think they're going to follow it up with an embarrassing loss. And I don't think the Bears offense will get up and running eventually. I don't think it's this week. I think it's going to take some time for them to figure out how, to play. And I think Houston's defense is actually tough and physical and strong and good. So I think it's going to be a problem. And then Houston's offense, they just have so many weapons that I think they'll score enough. So, I'm not worried.
Plenty of weapons, and they will use Joe Mixon.
So listen, I did see an interesting take. This was, again, and I thought this, but I think you can out-talent it, and it kind of applies for Atlanta and Chicago, which is, did you or did you not get the offensive coordinator right? I'm more bullish on Zach whatever. I am less bullish on Cousins, which, by the way, Ken, you need to talk about his planting because it was yuck-tastic.
Yep.
But
we will cover them.
I understand. Relax, mister. But Shane Waldron being the match for all the talent that he has, like, what did he do in Seattle except make another almost can't miss prospect in terms of metrics in JSN? He made him a bubble screen monster. He continues, like, he didn't use Gino regressed last year. He split time with Charbonnet and Walker. That's the guy that they chose to put in this historic, like, mountain of, like, gold in Chicago. That's what I don't know. I'm a little bit worried, and people were starting to make rumblings like, that was your first game. Maybe we give him and Canales a break. It's probably a good idea. It's first game. But, like, you can see some things. Like, you wanted to see some positives. There were 0 positives for Canales and Waldron in week 1.
All right, hey. Waldron or Getsy?
Oh, Waldron, definitely. But, by the way, if you put up 10 on, I don't know. I get it. You got Bosa and you got Mac at the Chargers, but, like, that defense is still not that good. If you only put up 10, come on.
So we don't have any picks in this game, but we're talking about almost every other one, so we're just going to sprinkle it in. Raiders versus Baltimore. You have terrible play calling just across the board. Connor blew us up on, I think it was Thursday night, about how terrible Todd Monken is as a play caller. Literally throwing a million check downs.
Because that was against an elite number 1 of 1, maybe 1 of 2 defensive coordinator. Spags is unbelievable. He's Wink Martindale on steroids, okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
agreed.
You know, I'm saying Baltimore was a little bit different. Monken is a little bit different because he should know by now, okay? He should know his personnel by now. Unfortunately, they haven't done anything to get any better on offense besides bring in Henry. And then you come back and you backtrack after the game and say, oh, well, Derrick Henry's not going to get 30 touches a game. Okay, so then if that's the case, be good with his touches, use him correctly. They stopped basically running play action. They stopped running anything really with him. All right, and I thought about this because I thought we were going to talk about this. I'm going to teach you guys. I'm going to learn you guys for about 30 seconds. Ken, look up, pay attention here. So I'm questioning Todd Monken's offense with Derrick Henry as a fit. Derrick Henry is a under center quarterback, 7 feet back, see the whole field, sidestep, and he's a counter runner or a downhill runner, left side, right side. But he doesn't do a lot of cutbacks. He's mostly just a straight downhill runner. If you move Lamar back and you make him a pistol runner, now he has, like, 2-way goes. It's not just sidestep, stretch plays to the right or stretch plays to the left. He is not a guy that's like, hey, let's run a zone scheme, or maybe like what I saw Monken doing, which was put him behind him, get the ball in his hands super fast, and then let him do stuff. That's not him. You have to tell Derrick Henry where to go, which means Lamar under center, play action, 7 yards deep. He's going to go left or he's going to go right. You're not giving him a 2-way go. And I thought that was a very, very bad, at least first look at him and Monken's offense, because guys that you want in a Monken offense where you're going in the pistol, super elusive guys. You want guys that are able to go left and right and give them the ability to slash.
You want guys with knees like J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah, ironically, yes. J.K. again. Well, think about that. J.K. is a beautiful fit. Even at Alabama, Alabama ran Mac Jones, or if let's see, for him it would have been was that A.J. McCarron? A.J. McCarron's his quarterback under center, literally running play action or stretch plays or draw plays or tackle over. Like, none of those require him to be vertical, take a snap one way, and then kind of decide where he wants to go. You tell him where to go. Mike Vrabel, play action. As crazy as it sounds, our boy Artie Smarty Smith literally made Derrick Henry a 2,000-yard rusher.
It's a simple force equation. If Derrick Henry is running as fast as he can in one spot, it's a lot of force. If he's cutting, it's not movement.
And if Spags is gonna blitz you a billion times, you don't run like a Derrick Henry like side screen. Like you're gonna need to do like simple, as crazy as like funnel, like tunnel screens. We're talking A1A. Like if you're gonna run screens, you don't have to run running back like middle screen, right? Like you can run tunnel screens from out to in with Rashee Rice or even tight end screens. Like the way that Andy Reid, he runs a lot of screens. Andy Reid runs a lot of screens, a lot of tight end screens. That is how you beat blitzes. So like I think there was a lot that Monken didn't do. Oh, and by the way, of course, he has Rashad Bateman out there who's gotta say he's a bust. So, yeah, we'll see.
Well, apparently Mark Andrews is a bust fantasy-wise this year, too. And Isaiah Likely's the star of the show.
He got doubled on like 80% of his routes, so I'll give him
a break. All right, so...
And he ran like was he the highest percentage route?
He was I think he was over 80% route participation.
Yeah.
It was literally just, if you go back and watch, again, follow people who actually don't have real jobs and they become fantasy analysts where they just break down film and they're pretty good at it. Probably not making a lot of money, but hey, it's neither here nor there. They showed just like Spags doing a total Bill Belichick where he was like, that's your best player? All right, he gets a safety and a linebacker every play. He gets a nickel and a safety every play. So,
daily fantasy this week. Go grab Mark Andrews. That's what I heard. Fade Isaiah Likely.
Fade Isaiah Likely. Go get Marv. Go get Olave. Go get JSN. Go get Wilson.
Get the Ohio State wide receivers.
Get all the former Ohio State receivers.
All right, let's keep Connor talking. Tampa Bay gets revenge, kind of, for the NFC playoffs. And
dude,
+7.
I don't know what you guys are talking about, but this is plain and simple. This is a Baker Mayfield tweet. I don't know why you guys hate him so much.
Dude,
okay?
Our group chat has been nothing besides Baker Mayfield is the greatest quarterback in the NFL, and it's so annoying.
It looked pretty good. Liam Cohen looked even better, I will say.
Dude, Washington had the worst defense in the NFL last year, and they didn't fix it.
Listen to me. You are mad that you lost a god in Baker Mayfield. Okay.
Connor, stop. Oh my God.
You know, Connor, you're just mad that T. Higgins didn't play.
What part of the cycle are we on? Listen, what part of their cycle are we on? We're on the beginning stages of
overconfidence.
Exactly. So when it comes down to it, when it's middle of the season, he's gonna fall off, and then he's gonna lose some games at the end. They're gonna be like, get rid of him. He's gonna come back. But guess what part of the cycle we're on? We're at the beginning of the season. Why are we not betting this guy all day long? It's the beginning of the season.
Because this is a real football game. This is not versus JV, okay? He's playing the Lions.
And this cycle, I don't know if you know, the next part comes like a waterfall. It's going to hit you, and it's going to hit you hard. It's not good for betting, man.
You know what, Connor?
This is the year. You got $100 million.
This is the year what?
Connor,
is the year what?
I'm putting my money where my mouth is. Detroit -7. I wasn't going to do it, but if it's Baker, if we're betting anti-Baker Mayfield, I'm in. So
Liam Cohen has unlocked the Baker Mayfield.
Dude, they just played a team that refused to throw it to its wide receivers.
That's not his fault.
Oh my gosh. Oh, okay.
I don't know what you guys.
I'll give it to you.
I really, really want to pick Detroit, but I don't believe in their defense. I just don't believe in their defense.
For the record, I do like what he did with Chris Godwin. I thought Godwin actually looked really good.
He went back to this is like where people get stupid and overcomplicate things, and I'm shocked that this is the one thing that Dave Canales screwed up, which was Godwin inside outside. No, he's a power slot. Keenan Allen, Chris Godwin, Cooper Kupp, all guys that make a living in the slot. Why would we say, oh, yep, you know what? Let's make an X or a Z. Let's do that. Don't do that. Just put him in the slot. Let him win. He did.
All right, let's go to your other game then.
Good, because I only have one more.
My turn.
I only have one more, and then
Ken has
to tell me about Kirk Cousins' Achilles, and then
it's my turn. So we're gonna go to Kirk Cousins' Achilles right now. Then how about that? How do you like them apples? Anyways, I got Atlanta plus 6.5. I don't care if Kirk Cousins can't move. He is not facing J.J. Watt or T.J. Watt again this week. I think that his line will hold up better.
Did you guys actually watch that game last week? I did not watch any of Atlanta Steelers.
Essentially,
only red zone highlights. Yeah.
It was essentially Kirk Cousins just getting his butt kicked and fumbling and throwing picks by the end.
Again, another weird week. I had one of my best friends from high school. His wife is a Steelers fan, so they watched every snap. And I was wondering why Drake London was sucking as I was out. And he was like, honestly, it's a little bit of Kirk Cousins, but you have no idea how bad their offensive line looks. Like,
but the thing is, like, that is really a top 5 offensive line. It's just that T.J. Watt does that all the time.
He specifically said the Steelers looked way better than the offense for Atlanta looked bad. And on top of that, Kirk Cousins is quite literally like somehow went backwards to like 2001 Tom Brady. Like, so I'm trying not to panic about that one. Hopefully.
We said this when we were doing our season-long picks and we were looking at the schedule. We said week 1 against Pittsburgh is an L. Like,
yeah.
Even though we said we'd take the Atlanta over, you can't do that to a guy who doesn't have a leg.
Yeah.
So at this point, in Kirk Cousins, he injured. What week was that
week
last
8,
year?
Week 7 or 8.
Yeah, it was like midway is what I kind of put it. And okay, he's not a wide receiver. He's not a running back. And this is the concern, is he should be able to throw off his back foot by now. And he didn't. I don't know if he couldn't, but he didn't. And everything was, they became a little too predictable. I thought there were 0 runs out of the shotgun. And is like out of the pistol, it was like 81% more passes. Like they just became real predictable with Bijan, and I don't know. Every highlight, I didn't watch too much of the plays, but every highlight was Kirk could not get away from Watt. That was it, and that was the whole game. So probably Philly has a decent pass rush. That they just paid. Huff from the Jets, was it? Yeah.
They got Huff. They got Jalen Carter, Brandon Graham. They have a really good set.
And then they have the other monster, Jordan, whatever, defensive tackle from Georgia.
Yeah. So, I mean, I am just worried about that. I mean, I kind of like them, but I mean, Philly's defense besides that, Green Bay moved up and down. I mean, it was a good offensive game between the two last week, but just 6.5 is a lot. So
I don't believe in either cornerbacks for these teams, and I believe in the receiving talent. That's the reason I like the over.
AJ Terrell's nice. AJ Terrell got paid. You know how it goes in the NFL, where he was the highest paid corner for about 48 hours.
Yeah, but it's AJ Terrell and dude from Best Buy. It's a rough cornerback 2 situation, and I just think Atlanta and Philly both have answers, but I don't know. I just wasn't overly impressed with Philly, and 6.5 is a lot. And I think Atlanta it's getting too much negative publicity for what I thought was like a very obvious mismatch where it is quarterback who doesn't move against great pass rusher. So, like, if the Browns played Atlanta, I would love to bet Myles Garrett to wreck that game because, like, it's just how it goes.
So you just don't believe in the Philly pass rush, then?
I don't believe in people who aren't as good as T.J. Watt to wreck the game. Like, if he doesn't fumble and get, then you start, you can't move. It gets worse.
Week 2 is going to be just so much. I just think week 2 is going to be way different. Yep. I think all of the crap is going to get, like, a lot of this crap is going to go completely the other way. You're going to see teams light it up this week on offense. I think people are going to overcorrect. They're going to say, hey, we tried too much stupid stuff in week 1. The elite offenses are going to show up. And I think the elite talent across the board is going to show up for the wide receiver level. That's just my prediction. Maybe it's wishful thinking. It could be, because I want it to be that way.
Because I want to not have only 35 or 6 touchdowns touchdowns for the whole week.
Honestly, guys like Sun God, guys like London and Olave and all those. There's no way. Even Wilson to an extent. CeeDee Lamb was relatively quiet. I mean, come on.
All right. So let's go to the team that you think will continue to suck, but still be better than the other team they're playing. Pittsburgh -3 against Denver.
All right, this is my final take, and it's not even that. I don't even know why is this so hard. Bo Nix is not good. A guy who we also said was like really good in the preseason. We're like, oh, maybe. Even Will Levis kind of was like, oh, well, maybe. Sucked. Bo Nix and Will Levis were not good this week.
Did you see his rushing touchdown, though, at the end of the game? That was the thing. He did that. He had a rushing touchdown at the end of the game.
He also had a really, really, really ugly triple coverage pick, like in the third quarter, too. I remember watching this, and the announcer, as he was throwing the ball, goes, oh, no. Saw throw into triple coverage. And then after it, he was like, yeah, this is what I saw. Circle, circle, circle. It was a corner route and had the safety. He had a cloud corner, a safety, and a linebacker all on the corner route. And it was like, oh, but so basic. Again, I think the Devon Valley guy, the rookie for Denver that was been really high on, I guess, whatever. He's a 26-year-old rookie. Yeah, I said that. But he had 8 targets for 39 yards from Bo Nix. Like,
Charlie checked down.
Yeah, Charlie checked down. Drew Brees light. It's like the natty daddy version of Drew Brees. Like,
don't even compare him to Drew Brees, man. That's disrespectful.
Sean Payton is wishful thinking. That's what he remember. He wanted to announce that he faked out everyone and said, I was going to get J.J. McCarthy, but I really wanted Bo Nix. And everyone was like,
you're full of shit.
Okay, you can have him. Yes, I think they wreck. I think 3 is actually.
So before you leave, Connor, quick question. Have you ever seen a team get 2 safeties and lows?
They got to go run back. We got to go back into the history for that. That's tough. That is tough.
Dude, I didn't bet this game, but I was like, I feel pretty good about Seattle. I'll see how it goes. And that was just such a bad game to watch, like all around.
And that's the other thing. I think it'll be interesting. This could be like a splash game from like Arthur Smith, where he's like kind of a little bit like the Baker Mayfield. Him and they're kind of in the same kind of cycle, which is like really, really crappy. Let's fire him. Then he'll put up like a 35 spot. You're like, wait a minute. Is that why you got the contract in Atlanta? Or is it still because of your dad? And then the next one, it's like, oh, definitely because of your dad. We're in the second portion right now. So we'll find out.
All right. Well, the last game we have to talk about, I have Chiefs versus Bengals. I'm taking the under, and I sent it in the group chat, I think, but Zach Taylor has won 1 game in the first 2 weeks of the season in his 6 years as a coach. And so after watching what that offense did with Chase not up to speed and without T. Higgins, I have a feeling T. Higgins ain't going to play again, and he is rapidly falling off of our favorite player. I think the Bengals are going to play conservative. It's how they always play Kansas City. And the Chiefs, I don't think they're a team that feels the need to run up the score. They never ever seem like they play that way. They'll just throw an 80-yard touchdown late, but that's just because you're overplaying the run. So I just think that this is going to be like the game the Chiefs handle, and the Bengals are just floating around. It's going to be like 20-13. So not believing in the Bengals at all until like 3 weeks from now. Even in Burrow.
I might steal that one. That's a goal. Yeah, 48.5. That's just people. I feel like that's wishful thinking that people want to see Burrow and Mahomes shoot out. And that's all it is.
Yeah.
By the way, Zach Moss, he looks like a football player. Just a football player.
You convinced me on the under, Phil, so I'm going to take that.
Yeah, actually.
Everyone's
Look at that. I'm the only one to sway both of you at once. Connor, the only thing you got me to do was bet against you and convert to Baker Mayfield.
That's exactly what I wanted. You did exactly what I wanted.
I
goaded you.
All right, that's all.
All right.
Thanks for listening. I'll see you guys later.